Hi guys, welcome to Life with Gaz, and in this episode today what I'm going to do is do a bit of catch it, cook and eat it with a dab. Now I'm not going to go off and catch the dab, I've already got that one, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do pan fried dab with fried rice as well. So I'm just going to take you through that. I'm going to start off with filleting and then get to that end dish right at the end there. So I hope you guys enjoy this. So here we've got the dab. Now this is obviously a nice thick dab just there. You can see it's about 3/4 of an inch, maybe just under. And what I'm going to do is just prep this one ready for cooking. Now we don't want the tail on there, so that can come off. Just a pair of scissors for that. And then also when it comes to these fins, I don't want them on there either. So I'm going to take them off as well, just using the same set of scissors to go all the way around. Now I'm not going to take this fish off the bone. One of the ways you can cook these fish is by taking sort of taking it apart and filleting it properly, and it's not too hard to do, but with a smaller fish like this one, then what you'll tend to find is that the fillets will not only be very small but also very fiddly to get a knife into. So although that is something which you can do quite easily, I'm not going to do that one for this particular recipe. Now I'm just going to gut the fish, and I'm just going to cut like this down through the backbone to the head just here. Give it a quick pull, not cut down through it because I don't want to pierce the guts. Make sure I get everything out just like that, and then I can really just cut that bit off there. Now there is a spiky little bone in here, and that spiky little bone is just there, but don't worry, that's going to come out when we cook it. Then you've got the roe as well, and all you need to do is just really gently pull it and it will come out just like that. If you break it and tear it, it then becomes a lot more difficult, but if you pull them, then those two come out and you end up with the two little cavities just there. Now this is going to go in the fridge overnight, and whilst that's in the fridge, what I'm then going to do obviously is come back to it tomorrow. So the fish itself's had an overnight just in the fridge, and that's firmed up lovely. And I've got a bit of ginger root here, and all I'm going to do is just essentially take what I need off of that. I don't need a huge amount. And then what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to just sort of very finely dice it and slice it. And once it's all sort of diced and sliced and minced up a little bit, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just marinate the fish in that for about sort of 20 minutes and just let that sit whilst I'm cooking some of the other ingredients. Now the reason for letting it sit is just to let that flavour permeate in just a little bit, and obviously once it permeates in, it means that then obviously the fish is going to pick up that flavour before frying. Now once I've cut this ginger up and I start rubbing it on the fish, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to also add a little bit of salt as well to the skin of that fish, and that'll just help with that flavour. So now I've got little bit of ginger just there. I'm going to just take half of it away, and that's going to go, this half is going to go off to a sauce, and this half is going to marinate the fish. So all I'm going to do is just get it on my hand, rub it into the skin of the fish just like this, and then a little bit of salt in there as well, just like that, and give that a good sort of rub in just like that. And any of the surplus that comes off, like I've got there, I'll just use on the underside of the fish, just like that. So now I'm going to start prepping the veg for the sauce, and in just the same way as I did with the ginger, I just need to cut some garlic up as well and just mince that up. Now as well as the garlic, I'm also going to do a little bit of spring onion in there as well. Now I only need a couple of garlic cloves because these ones are quite big, but obviously again just do that to your own flavour. And once you get your sort of own flavours right, obviously you enjoy your meals. Now I only do these videos really as a guide, and it's not really meant as anything more than that, just I do this to the flavours which I like. Now the garlic and the and the ginger are going to go in together, so they can just sit in a pile just there. And then I just need a couple of spring onions, and what I'm going to do with these is just essentially just sort of slice them up a little bit. They don't need to go, they don't really need to sort of go too crazy with these. I'm going to keep the tops as a bit of a garnish, but essentially I'm just going to sort of take them off. So around about this sort of size, and they can just go in the sauce as well. So now I'm just going to start cooking the sauce. I'm just going to add a little bit of oil just there. It's about a sort of tablespoon's worth. Then to that oil, just before it's heating up, I'm just going to add the ginger and the garlic in there. Now once it starts sizzling, I'll give it about 10 seconds before I'll put the spring onions in, and then I'll give that a little bit longer just whilst that's going with the spring onions, just to let them soften. Then I'll start adding the other bits of the sauce which I've got just here. Now when I add the other bits of the sauce, I'm just going to measure them out in tablespoons, and it's just going to be one of each one just there. So as soon as you can start smelling it, like I can smell now, that's when the spring onions can go in there and get them all mixed in just like that. And then I'll give that about another sort of 10-15 seconds just till I start getting the flavour of those spring onions coming through at me. Then I'll start adding some of the other stuff. So I've got some toasted sesame seed oil, just to put a tablespoon of that in there. There you go. There's a tablespoon of that going in. Then I've got the rice wine vinegar just here. Put a tablespoon of that in there as well. And then next, I'm going to just put in around about a tablespoon of light soy sauce as well. Just like that. Give that a little bit of a mix, let that go for about 30 seconds. And once that's had about 30 seconds of cooking, I'm just going to add a little bit of water to obviously give my sauce a bit of depth. Because that sauce there, as lovely as it's going to taste, isn't going to go very far. So on top of that, now I'm just going to pour that water in, just there. And that's going to give me enough sauce to go over my fish and my rice. Once that starts coming up to the boil, then I need to just thicken it up. Now we're just getting on to the boil, just a few thickening granules at a time until I get it to the level which I want. Now these things are great. You can do this with lots of various starches to thicken it up to what you want it to get to. But with these things, just put a few in there. And once you're at the sort of desired amount, then you sort of know just to stop. So if you put too much in there as well, what you can do is just add a little bit more water. So just as easy as that, I've got my soy and ginger sauce just there, smelling absolutely fantastic. But what I'm going to do next is just cook off that fried rice. So what I'm going to do is just go for the fried rice, get a bit of oil hot in the pan just there. I'm going to stick a little bit of beaten egg in there, about 2 eggs for me. And these don't need to be in there long, just move them about, break them up. And what's going to happen is I'm going to actually take these out of there. And why I'm going to take them out is because if I start putting the soy sauce in with the egg takes on the colour of the soy sauce and just go a bit like horrible grey colour. Just like that. So once I've just broken my egg up, just like this, that is all the time it takes to cook. Just like that. And I'm going to just stick that in a little bowl, just to the side. So next bit for the rice, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some onion just to it. I've just got about half an onion there because I'm only cooking for myself tonight. And on top of those onions, I'm just going to put in some frozen peas as well. And this really, let's just make it look nice and let it stand out. Now once they're cooking, what I'll do is I'll just get ready, add a little bit more oil to it, sorry. Once they're cooking, what I'll do is I'll just go and get my rice out from the the fridge, because when you cook fried rice, what you want to do is you want to boil your rice just like this. Now this is just sort of standard boiled rice, nothing sort of too spectacular. This is basmati. And then put it in the fridge and give it a chance to dry out, and that'll help it when you're frying it. Now once those onions and everything have started to soften, then the rice can go in just on top of it, just like this. And then what I'm going to do is just give that a very quick mix and add a bit of soy sauce to it, and that'll just give it that flavour and colour. Now you can use light or dark soy sauce. I prefer using light soy sauce. The reason for that is just because the dark soy sauce, I feel, just overpowers it. So now the rice is looking cooked there, or all the bits in it are looking good, what I can do is just add that egg just into it, just like this. And I would have loved to do this with raw king prawns, but I couldn't get hold of any today. So I've just got some pre-cooked ones. So they're the very last thing that goes in. And all I'm going to do is just dump them in like that. Give it a bit of a mix around. And then I can take that off the heat and get ready to start finishing off just by pan frying that lovely little dab, because he's had a few minutes now just to sit in that marinade. So let's get the star of the show in there, and we'll start off by putting him pan side down. Now if these guys start to curl up, you've just got to keep flipping them, but hopefully I shouldn't have to do that because he's sat in the fridge for a day and he's stiffened right up. Now once that dab's had enough time on one side, just flip him over, and you can see obviously all the skin is nice and crispy on there, exactly what we want. So now that dab's just about done just there, I've put the sauce back on the heat and get a bit of warmth in there, and the fried rice has just been on a low heat, just sitting on the side just to keep that warmth in. But what I'm going to do is start plating up. Now I don't want any bones on my plate, so when I'm plating up I'm just going to take the bones out of this fish. And if you just flip it over like this, you can just take the meat out, just like I'm doing there. And once I've done that, then it should just be nice and simple. Just get underneath there, and you should be able just to very gently pull all the bones out in one go, just like that. And then I've just got these little ones here to clear up, and then I can flip the fish back over and start enjoying it. And of course, now I've got the fish just in the centre there, the final touch is to just put that soy and ginger sauce just over the top there, and let that drop down into the rice a little bit. So obviously the final thing is to see how it tastes. Now this was a humble dab cooked in ginger and soy sauce with prawn fried rice, and what I'm going to do is just have a little bit of a chunk of all of it just there and see what we're like. And for the humble dab, that is absolutely fantastic. Now if you've liked this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button down here. Check out my latest fishing video over here and my cooking playlist up top.